The moment Aaron Whitlock heard the desperate gasp for air, the world around him froze. A young woman in a soft blue blouse collapsed against the cold pavement, her breath shallow, her fingers trembling as she tried to steady herself. Cars sped past, their horns blaring, and people, far too busy to care, glanced, hesitated, and then kept walking. But Aaron didn't. Dressed in the only clean shirt he owned, clutching the folder that held the documents for the most important job interview of his life, he stepped toward her. The job he had waited months for, a future he desperately needed. And now, a stranger whose life might slip away if he didn't act. What Aaron didn't know was simple. This moment of kindness would destroy the opportunity he'd worked years for, and lead him straight into a truth that would change his life forever. Here's the question at the center of this story. When life tests you at the worst possible moment, would you risk everything to help a stranger? Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. In that split second, Aaron felt the weight of two futures pressing against him, the life he had fought to rebuild and the responsibility that now lay at his feet. He could hear his own heartbeat thudding in his ears as the young woman's breaths grew weaker, each one sounding like a quiet plea no one else seemed willing to answer. He knelt beside her, his hand shaking slightly as he tried to comfort her, whispering that she wasn't alone. In that moment, he remembered nights spent sleeping in his car, mornings spent searching for work, afternoons filled with rejections that chipped away at his confidence. Maybe that was why he couldn't walk away. Maybe that was why her pain cut deeper than it should have. And as you hear this unfolding moment, ask yourself, if you were standing where Aaron stood, would you keep moving like the others? Or would you stop? Aaron Whitlock was only 27, but life had already taught him to carry more weight than most people twice his age. A recent graduate with student loans stacked higher than his confidence, he worked part-time jobs just to keep his grandmother in the care home that gave her the dignity she deserved. He had applied to this same company 5 different times, each rejection feeling like another door closing on the future he had imagined. Still, he kept trying, because giving up never felt like an option for him. And now, kneeling beside this trembling young woman on a crowded city street, he could feel the world pulling him in 2 directions. The city itself was loud, impatient, competitive. Every second mattered here, especially for someone like Aaron who couldn't afford to lose even one. Yet something about this stranger made him stay, as if her presence carried a weight he couldn't explain. Her name, spoken softly between unsteady breaths, was Lila. She looked no older than 24, her voice gentle but marked by an anxiety that seemed older than she was. She kept her eyes lowered, as if afraid of being recognized, and each time someone passed by, she flinched slightly, pulling the collar of her blouse closer to her neck. Aaron didn't know it yet, but Lila was carrying more fear than she could ever confess. She was hiding a medical condition she refused to talk about, and the way she kept glancing over her shoulder told a story of someone running from something, someone running from someone. Still, she tried to sit up, apologizing to Aaron as if collapsing in the street had inconvenienced him. He reassured her gently, unaware that this moment was pulling him deeper into a truth far bigger than either of them could see. Just a few blocks away, inside the towering glass headquarters Aaron was supposed to be walking toward, Michael Trent was checking the time with growing irritation. Known for his sharp suits and even sharper temper, Michael had a reputation for despising anything that slowed down progress. To him, a candidate arriving late to an interview wasn't someone with a valid reason. It was someone without discipline. And in a company run by Victor Moretti, the famously strict billionaire tech founder, discipline was everything. What neither Michael nor Aaron knew was that Victor Moretti's own daughter was the same young woman Aaron was helping on the street. And Victor wasn't just strict. He was feared by employees, investors, and even family. Lila's absence from her tightly controlled world would not go unnoticed for long. And as Aaron supported her gently, unaware of the storm waiting for him at that building, one truth lingered quietly in the air. But what Aaron didn't know was who she really was. Aaron gently helped Lila sit upright against a nearby bench, trying to steady her trembling hands as he offered her the small bottle of water he always kept in his backpack. She took a slow sip, wincing slightly as if even swallowing required effort. When he reached for his phone to call an ambulance, she grabbed his wrist with surprising urgency, her voice weak but filled with fear as she whispered, "Please, don't call anyone. Just stay with me a minute." He hesitated, torn between doing what seemed responsible and honoring the desperate plea in her eyes. She asked for his name, as though grounding herself in something familiar. He told her gently, watching her breathe through the discomfort. After a long pause, she whispered, "I'm sorry this ruined your day," as if she carried the weight of every apology she'd ever needed to give. Aaron didn't understand why she said that. Not yet. The moment she assured him she'd be okay, Aaron checked the time and felt his stomach drop. Panic surged through him as he realized how late he already was. With one last glance to make sure she could stand, he sprinted down the sidewalk, weaving through the crowd with the desperation of someone who knew how much was at stake. His lungs burned, his shirt clung to his back, and by the time he burst through the front doors of the interview building, he was 12 minutes late. Michael Trent stood near the reception area, arms crossed, his expression sharpened with disappointment and irritation. "If you can't manage your time," he said loud enough for nearby employees to hear, "how can you manage clients?" The humiliation stung, but Aaron tried to explain, only to be cut off mid-sentence. What he didn't know was that someone else had been listening through the glass wall, someone who recognized his voice. The interview was over almost as soon as it began. Michael's questions were quick, clipped, and cold, delivered with the kind of tone that made it clear Aaron was wasting his time. When it ended, Michael didn't bother softening the blow. "We're not moving forward," he said firmly, standing as if eager for Aaron to leave. Trying to keep his composure, Aaron thanked him anyway, then walked out of the building with a heaviness that felt almost physical. He stepped outside, trying to steady his own breathing now, feeling the crushing combination of disappointment and regret pressing at his chest. As he reached for his phone, the screen lit up with a message from an unknown number. The text read, "Thank you for helping me today. I hope, one day, I can make it right." And beneath the message, just a single letter, L. It made him pause, wondering why her words felt heavier than they should.